welcome to my channel. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. I was at a funeral recently. It wasn't for someone particularly close to me, but I felt obligated to show up. Out of respect. Funerals. Man, they're always so quiet and heavy. The air in the room just feels different, like it's weighing down on you. Anyway, the service was long and pretty emotional for a lot of people. But for me, I was just sort of zoning out. I don't know how to explain it, but my body was there, yet my mind was drifting. I guess the mixture of the dim lighting, the soft, continuous murmur of people crying, and the monotonous voice of the speaker made my eyes feel heavy. Before I knew it, I fell asleep right there on the bench, which, I know, sounds totally disrespectful, but it just kind of happened. Now here's the weird part, and believe me, I wish I was making this up. I had this dream. At least, I think it was a dream. I don't know anymore. In the dream, I was still in the funeral. Same place, same benches, same everything. But something felt off. The moment I realized it, I looked around, and all the people who were at the funeral were gone. Every single one of them. It was dead quiet, pun intended. At first, I thought maybe I just woke up after everyone had left, but no. I stood up, walked around, and even the casket was still at the end of the room, untouched. The only thing missing was, well, everyone else. It was just me in this empty funeral home, standing there like an idiot, feeling this weird, unsettling vibe in the air. I thought, okay, let's just leave. I walked over to the doors, which were these big, heavy steel things. I grabbed the handle and pulled, but nothing. They wouldn't budge. I tried again, this time pushing, yanking, all that, but they stayed shut. I even checked to see if I had missed a lock, but nope. They were locked from the outside, it seemed, and there was no key in sight. That's when the feeling hit me. You know that feeling when you suddenly realize you're not alone, even though you thought you were? It's like this chill runs up your body, and every hair on your body stands up. I stood there, frozen for a second, not sure what to do. Then I heard it, a sound. It was faint at first, but definitely there. It was sobbing. At first, I thought it was just someone else who got locked in with me, but this crying didn't sound normal. It was like a mix of pain, fear, and something else I couldn't put my finger on. It wasn't coming from the direction of the doors either. It was coming from near the coffin. Now look, I'm not one to freak out right away, but hearing crying from near the coffin when no one else is supposed to be there? Yeah, that freaked me out a bit. I had to know what it was. Call me stupid, but I couldn't just sit there doing nothing. Slowly, I walked over to the coffin. My steps were so quiet, it felt like the air itself was holding its breath. The closer I got, the louder the sobbing became, but there was something off. It didn't sound human anymore. It was wet, like something was choking on its own tears. The sound was making my skin crawl, but I kept going because some part of me needed to know. When I finally reached the area near the coffin, I saw it. There, crouching next to the coffin, was this thing. I don't even know how to describe it properly. It was hunched over, like it was too tall to stand up straight, and its back was arched in this unnatural way, like a spider. Its hands were gripping the side of the coffin, and its head was buried in its arms, shaking with every sob. Its skin was pale, almost gray, and looked like it hadn't seen the sun in forever. I froze. I couldn't move. My mind was screaming at me to run, but my legs wouldn't listen. Then, as if it could sense me, the creature stopped crying. It slowly lifted its head, and I could see its face. It was the most terrifying thing I'd ever seen. Its eyes were hollow, like deep black holes, and its mouth was twisted into this weird shape, like it was both crying and smiling at the same time. And then it spoke. "I can smell someone nearby," it said in this raspy, chilling voice. It sounded like it hadn't spoken in years. "I know you're here." That was all it took for me to snap back to reality. My body moved before my brain could catch up. and I ducked down behind one of the benches, trying to stay out of sight. My heart was pounding in my chest so hard, I thought it would give me away. I pressed my back against the bench, trying to control my breathing, but it was so loud in my ears, it felt like I was screaming. I could hear the creature moving, its claws scraping against the floor as it slowly crawled around, searching. The sound made me feel sick. "Where are you?" it whispered, dragging out each word like it was tasting them. It was moving closer. I could hear it, smell it even. There was this horrible stench in the air, like rotting flesh. I peeked out from behind the bench, just for a second, and saw it slowly crawling towards my spot. I couldn't stay there. I had to move. So, as quietly as I could, I started crawling from bench to bench, trying to stay out of its line of sight. Every time I moved, I could hear it stop, sniff the air, and then keep moving toward me. It was like it knew exactly where I was, but was playing a sick game with me. At one point, I thought I was done for. The creature stopped right next to the bench I was hiding behind. It sniffed the air again, and I could hear it take in this long, rattling breath. "I can smell your fear," it hissed. I held my breath, praying it wouldn't find me. My body was shaking, and I could feel the sweat running down my back. I don't know how long I stayed there, crouched behind the bench, but it felt like an eternity. The creature moved on after what felt like forever, and I took that chance to move again. I crawled to the next row of benches, then the next, trying to put as much distance between me and it as possible. But no matter how far I got, the sound of its sobbing followed me. It was always there, right behind me, getting closer and closer. At some point, I don't know how, I managed to make it back to the doors. I thought maybe, just maybe, if I could break them open, I'd be able to escape. I grabbed the handle and pulled with everything I had, but it was no use. The doors were still locked, and I didn't have the strength to break them down. That's when I felt a presence behind me. Slowly, I turned around, and there it was. The creature was standing right in front of me, its hollow eyes staring straight into mine. It smiled, this horrible, twisted smile, and said, "I found you." I don't remember much after that. Everything went black, and when I woke up, I was still sitting in the funeral home, exactly where I had fallen asleep. The people were back, the noise had returned, and everything seemed normal again, but I knew it wasn't. What I saw, what I felt, that was too real to just be a simple dream. I left the funeral as soon as I could, without telling anyone what happened. It was dark by the time I stepped outside. The sky was this deep shade of blue, and the streetlights weren't doing much to brighten the place up. As I made my way to the parking lot, I felt uneasy. It wasn't just because of what I'd experienced inside. There was something about the air outside, too. It was colder than it should have been for that time of night, and everything felt too still. I hurried to my car, trying to get rid of the feeling, but just as I was about to open the door, something caught my eye. Near the fence that bordered the funeral home, I saw a shape. It was low to the ground, like someone, or something, was crouching there. At first, I thought maybe it was just a trick of the shadows, or my mind playing games after what had happened inside. But then I looked again. I swear, it looked like the creature. That same hunched posture, those long, thin arms resting on the ground, its head turned toward me. I froze, gripping the car door, my heart pounding in my chest. I blinked, hoping it would disappear, but it didn't. It was still there watching me. I don't know how long I stood there staring, but eventually, my body kicked into gear, and I jumped into the car. I locked the doors and started the engine as fast as I could. The headlights came on, and when I looked back at the fence, the figure was gone, just like that, vanished into the dark. I tried to laugh it off, telling myself it was just my mind messing with me. But deep down, I didn't believe that. I drove away, trying to focus on the road, but my hands were shaking, and I couldn't stop checking the mirrors, half expecting to see something following me. Halfway home, I was driving through this road that didn't have many streetlights. It was one of those places where everything feels creepier at night, you know? And that's when I saw it again, There, by the side of the road, near a fence, I saw the same figure, crouching, watching. My stomach dropped. It looked exactly like the creature from the funeral home. Same pale skin, same twisted posture. It was just there, like it had followed me. I don't know how, but it was there, and it was waiting. I panicked. I wasn't about to go home with that thing lurking around. No way. So, instead of driving to my place, I made a quick decision and took a detour to my parents' house. It wasn't far, and I figured if I was going to crash anywhere, I'd rather it be there, surrounded by people, than alone in my apartment. The whole way there, I kept checking my mirrors, expecting to see that thing crouched by the side of the road again, but I didn't. By the time I pulled into my parents' driveway, I was shaking. I parked the car, practically ran inside, and crashed on their couch without saying much. I couldn't explain why I was so freaked out, and I didn't want to try. That night, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I could see those hollow, dark eyes staring at me. That horrible sobbing, ringing in my ears. I haven't talked about it since, but every now and then, I'll hear that same sobbing in my dreams, and I'll see those hollow eyes staring at me from the darkness. I don't go to funerals anymore. I just can't. Thank you for listening to this video. I'll see you in the next one.